Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. With the name of Allah, the Merciful and Beneficent. I hope you are all fine and enjoying life when my voice reaches you. Yesterday we were looking for, we have actually been discussing the key family and community practices which have been devised, designed, programmed, outlined, guidelined by WHO and by our health department with the collaboration of WHO and UNICEF. We have seen that those are the practices which actually need to be implemented in our society, and we believe that if those practices work and if we work with those practices, the health of the children can be improved and their life expectancy can be improved. And we have seen that those outlines or those practices or those points have been prepared while considering the low socioeconomic countries and rich or established countries in the world. And those practices have been devised in such a way that those are can be possibly implemented, no problem at all, and still give more benefit. With that, it is again a management concept, best utilization of the available resources. So the health resources available in this part of the world can be utilized at their best to achieve those results, and the results should be for the better health of the children under 5 years of age, and of course the life expectancy, the death toll should decrease with the implementation of those points. So, and we were discussing those points one by one. First we were just discussing their outlines, and we have seen that the obviously we have discussed first 5. First is the exclusive breastfeeding. We have seen the mother should by all means mother should feed their children on their own. Then is the complementary feeding. The weaning should be started not less than 6 months, but it can be started at 4 months of the age of the baby. The solid, a little bit solid or semi-solid food can be mixed with the milk and other products of the same nature, and other liquids can be started. Certain juices can be started to the babies. That will also help increase their health and will provide them micronutrients like vitamins and minerals. Then is the micronutrients should be included in the diet, and if they are not on the mother milk, then this is again a must philosophy that the the diets containing micronutrients should be included with the intake of the children, and supplementation is again there. Then it was personal hygiene. So the cleanliness as religiously advised is again a very much helpful habit, and it saves the children from too many diseases. So the family and the mother, in particular the ladies handling children, should be advised for a better hygiene. Then immunization, there is no compromise, no deal, no concept of the avoidance or the need or not need or no need. It's by all means every healthy baby has to go through immunization, vaccination schedule in his first 2 or 5 or whatever it is years of life. All the schedule has to be followed. There is no concept of need or no need. Then sixth was the first part today. Of course, then sixth is the malaria, very much common in this part of the world, obviously because because of the dirt and dirty water stores outside the houses, and the sheds and other places where the the mosquito spreading malaria flourishes and divides and multiplies and produces more. So for those purpose, as in our country, as our country is a developing nation, and we belong to third world country, the obviously the air conditioning is not possible everywhere. So cheaper, relatively handy is the use of the bed nets. So bed nets can save children from not only from malaria but also from other mosquito spread diseases, and that use of the bed nets is very easy, handy, and you can say economical, and mothers can save their children from such mosquito causing such diseases which are spread by the mosquitoes. So protect children in malaria endemic areas as Pakistan is, by ensuring that they sleep under insecticide treated net beds. Then is the psychosocial development. Psychosocial development is a must. First, the psychological, the convincing, the education, health education starts, promotion of the mental and social development, social health of the family, of the society, of the people living in that area. First, involving them in the psychological or the social improvement. Social improvement again needs directs to the hygienic conditions and the best utilization of the food, the timely intake of the food, the proper processing of the food, and then of course the avoidance of the taboos and avoidance of the familial tendencies and of the old times rumors and other things where we believe that the children cannot be fed on their mother feed and mother milk, and children should be given such types of things, castor oil and whatever it is. So all those things should be stopped, and their mental caliber, the mental training and the social training should be there. So the promotion of the mental and social development by responding to a child's need for care and through talking, playing and providing stimulating environment, that will be helpful in the good health, in achieving good health of the children under 5 years of age in particular. The children can be promoted at their schools, at their institutions, at their while they are at the tuition centers, while they are at the playgrounds, for good social behavior and for the cleanliness, and their mental development can be done and the social development can be done through easy means. If somebody, say for example, if some teacher is teaching mathematics to his children, then why not he can then tell some good social thing? Why cannot tell some Islamic thing? So those things can also be helpful, particularly when we are Muslims. We have got too many directions given in Holy Quran for the psychosocial development of the society. Then is the home care illnesses. We have to devise certain. We know, but as doctors or as medical people, we know, but we have to make our people understand. We have to make our residents, our society members, to understand where the patient should be taken to the hospital and up to what limit they can treat or they can care or they can look after the patient at home. So home care illnesses continue feeding to sick children and offer more fluids including breast milk, particularly in case of children if they have got ARI, acute respiratory tract infection. Then we need to know how at what level we have to give them what medication and antibiotics, role of antibiotic is there, or tussive element is needed or whatever is required, and up to what level the child needs the medical care, and at what level the child needs admission in the hospital. And secondly, of course, again the care of of a baby having diarrhea, always the physician should advise. Always the physician should advise when the child needs medical care, and how much medical care needs, and how much of the feeding care is required for the baby. How much of the feeding care, when the baby is taken to home, how much of the feeding care should be there, and what feeding should be there. Because sometimes we believe that only the mother milk is enough. Sometimes we believe only ORS is enough. Sometimes we believe he or she should take food, should take homemade food. Sometimes we think that that baby having diarrhea should be given the formula milk. So all those things are at the it should be in the mind of the physician, and should always convey that what they need to do when some patient suffers such a disease. And we should also, the medical people should also train our LIWs and other medical related people about the care of such illnesses, and what can be done at home and what needs to be done at the hospital. Continuing feeding to sick children and offering more fluids, including breast milk, at home. Then is the home treatment for the infections. Again, we are not sure which infection can be treated at home, for which infection the child should be taken to the hospital, and which type of hospital should be there. So they give sick children appropriate home treatment for the infection. Whenever some child is infected, has got some infection, some skin infection, ARI, diarrhea, cholera, typhoid, the baby is bound to spread such a disease to other children. Nowadays, corona, so the baby is bound to spread the disease to other children and adults. If somebody is ill, how he or she should avoid the children under 5 years of age. So that is, again, the guideline should be there, and the sick children should be treated for appropriate level of medical care. Then is obviously care seeking. Recognize when sick children need treatment outside the home and seek care from the appropriate healthcare providers. We should be very much keen to in case of the treatment of our children, that when our children need to be hospitalized and when they need care at home. We doctors or we medical people cannot say that we are not caring our children like that, but we cannot. Most of the time we do not follow those guidelines, because we ourselves are doctors. We can treat our children at home, but for the general public, we have to have a proper status of the health of the child in our mind, that at one stage the child needs care of the healthcare provider, and at what stage the child needs to be hospitalized. Otherwise, what is coming in next is that we may lose the baby. So by all means, we need to admit our children to the hospital or healthcare centers or healthcare facilities when we are not in a position to take care of them, or we do not have knowledge. So general public, most of the time, they do not have knowledge at what time the feeding should be done, what medication should be done, what antibiotics should be done. So whenever we realize that the child is in such a condition that he needs a medical care, the child should be taken to the medical center. Then is the compliance with the advice. Obviously, when healthcare provider or some associate of healthcare provider gives some advice, then the health worker should follow the health worker. Then the parents of the baby should follow the health worker's advice about treatment, follow-up and referral. So actually, say for example, health worker goes to some home and the baby is suffering from tuberculosis and gives advice about the treatment, gives advice about the intake of the medication that they should follow. Then if the healthcare provider, the lady health worker believes that the baby should be taken to the doctor, then should take to the doctor. And if the doctor of the local medical officer or local healthcare provider or the medical man believes that the baby should be referred to some specialist or to some tertiary care hospital or secondary care hospital, then the patient should be referred to that place. But what actually happens is that most of the mothers and the parents, they say that you in the villages, I have worked a lot in the villages of our country, so the parents, they stress that please treat our patient at your level. And secondly, they do not follow up the advice. They go with the formulas of their others. They go to the peer, fakirs, hakims, and others, homeopaths and faith healers and others. And the medicine, they do not, most of the time they do not administer to their children. And when the baby is referred to some high level secondary or tertiary care hospital, then they refuse, or they sometimes say, all right, we are going, but they go home and follow the treatment of some other practitioner or some other non-qualified type of a health healer, and they say that we believe in him because our parents have been getting treatment from that healthcare provider, so we don't have any problem. They go to the mazars, shrines, and they go to the peer, fakirs, and do not follow the advice of the healthcare provider. And that is where actually the problem is. When the disease spreads, when the infection spread, when the infection overcomes over the treatment plan of the baby, then the patient is, even if it's taken to the tertiary care or secondary care hospital, does not matter much. Obviously, the one of the most important aspect of the health of the baby, of the newborns or infants or neonates, is that the antenatal care of the mother. That is the most neglected area in this part of the world, in our society, in Pakistan, in countries of the South Asia, and in all other developing or third world countries. Ensure that every pregnant woman has adequate antenatal care, and this includes having at least 4 antenatal visits with an appropriate healthcare provider and receiving the recommended doses of tetanus toxoid at least 2 times before the delivery. And obviously the other parameters of the health of the mother, her weight, her hemoglobin level, her other health strata, all those needs to be checked and corrected. Whatever the case may be, if we all know, as a medical man, we predict that this baby will only be delivered through surgical procedure, then we have to prepare the mother for the surgical, mentally prepare, we have to prepare mentally the mother for the surgical procedure, and we have to make the arrangements for that, and we have to guide them and refer them to the health facility where they can get this done. But most of the time the mothers, they keep on stressing that they want normal delivery, and then they say that leave on the luck, leave on the nature, leave on the fate, fortune, and start going to the peer, fakirs and hakims, and do not care for the health of themselves and their baby. That is a very, very much common cause of the natal deaths, of the perinatal deaths of the babies in this part of the world. Unfortunate, very, very much unfortunate. But as I have told you in early key points, that the psychosocial, mental and psychosocial development of the society should also be done, and should be considered a part of the this IMNCI. If we do not prepare our people mentally, then they will not follow our advices. First of all, we have to develop them mentally. We have to make the mental development of the society. We have to have the seminars. We have to hold the meetings. We have to call them to the hospitals. We give them proper respect. We have to make our lady health visitors and lady health workers to follow them. Our dispensers, our other healthcare providers, our vaccinators who have been visiting to the homes, they should also prepare them mentally to follow the standard treatments available in this part of the world. Unfortunate, the mothers and their family members, they do not, they have tried to avoid surgeries, they try to avoid treatment through this track. So the result is that sometimes we lose mothers in the process. The mother also needs support from her family and community to seek care at the time of delivery and during postpartum and lactation period. And that is again a very, very much important aspect of this key point. Mothers first neglected at antenatal level, then they have to care other 4 children or 5 children at home. She has to cook food for them. She has to herself belongs to a poor family and one earning hand and 10 dependents. So she is not given with provided with good quality food. And then finally the unfortunate, the lower level of health care providers at the time of delivery, then during postpartum and lactation period, she is again not been fed with good quality food. As a result of that, she is not able to provide good quantity or quality of milk to the baby, and the result is that the baby is still weak, the mother is weak, the spacing of the children is not there, and all those people are ill and living in a very small home, and one earning hand cannot provide food to the whole of the family. So all those things unfortunately lead to the what we can say, to the early death or the death under 5 years of age of the babies. So those are the remaining aspects of the key points. Those are very, very much important. That is why we have been caring to convey those very carefully to you. And now it's my time for lunch. I hope you will also be enjoying some food and good quality juices during this era. And meanwhile, it's goodbye.